Let me know when that's ready to go.
We are
Oops,
good. We are
we're
live.
live now.
All right, very cool. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the weekly community call for Yam. As you guys know, we have this every week. We will be doing this. Oops, sorry, I didn't change the date on this. We will be doing this again next Thursday, same time. If you guys aren't speaking, please stay muted, just so that we can hear everybody. Let's see. Welcome, community members that join us as well. Let's see. We're going to get started with past week in governance. So last week we had a governance call, and Ross was leading it, and we got a bunch of notes. Thank you guys for attending. Those that did. And there's a lot of things going on in terms of changing up the governance system or updating and adjusting it. So Ross, if you don't mind, if you can go over this and go over the process and where it's at right now.
Sure thing. Yeah, so this is less big changes and more adjustments. And the goal here is really to provide clarity in what the requirements are, and our ability to moderate, and so everyone understands better. The post that you see there in the agenda, that is a recent post that I put up on the forum to sort of go over what we talked about in the last meeting, which is a sort of proposed new flow, which is pretty similar to the old flow, but has a few changes. So we recommend that everyone who's interested in this read through it. But sort of the gist of it is the flow remains the same, and then there are a few things that are being tweaked. Like before, we want discussion on the forums in Discord to start things off. And so that is pretty similar. One change that we've been talking about what is expanding our options for signaling votes, which would be changing to have two different types of snapshot votes. One that is a signaling snapshot that requires less YAM to propose and will be able to be used sort of more flexibly with options and whatnot. And then we would have a second snapshot, which sort of coincides with what I'm calling in the post an official proposal, where you put the proposal in the forum as an official proposal, and it gets an official snapshot vote, which is a yes/no vote, and is sort of built upon the signaling votes that have been done earlier to get sort of to make sure that there's clarity around that proposal. So there are a few questions. We need to make sure that our template is up to date because we want people to be using that. And then there are some questions around how many YAMs people think they need, or how many YAMs we need to be able to propose a snapshot. So currently, in that last meeting, there was a number of 25,000 YAMs thrown out for a final snapshot, which is a decent number of YAM. And for many people would require getting other members to help them reach that goal through delegating. There are also ways that you could do it with autonomous proposals, but this is a big question about how many YAM we think is necessary to have a final snapshot vote or an early snapshot vote. And then one of the other things, so these are all things that will need to be discussed. So I hope that people can go in and comment and read and let us know what they think about it. And then one of the other parts of this was trying to get a sort of a cadence on when governance votes happen, so that anyone can sort of go every week on the same day of the week to see, okay, these are the new votes, this is what I need to vote on. Yeah, what day do we want to start these on? If it's a consistent day, how does that coincide with this call? for final proposals, do we want to discuss any final proposal on this call? And then how does that work out with timing? And then how long do we think the vote should be? We have 3 days currently, and that's something that's sort of up for discussion, thinking about. And then finally, the on-chain vote is pretty much unchanged from how it currently is in this proposal. And there's also a question about whether we should have a specific day that we start those on. And then I go over a few edge cases for expedited proposals and whether we feel like we need a different governor for an emergency proposal that would be faster but have a higher approval requirement. So these are all open questions that need to be discussed, and we want to make it so that governance is clear and accessible for everyone, and that people are able to vote or able to propose things, empowered to propose things, and know how to get through the process. So that's the goal of this whole thing. So we need your input.
Awesome. Thanks, Ross. Yeah, this is very comprehensive. So those of you guys that are cluing in now, we are updating our governance process to include some of the issues that we kind of ran into. As you guys, if you guys are new to Yam, Yam is still, it's a DAO. So as token holders, you make the decisions. And and part of that process is the governance process. If you guys take a look at this post, his previous post goes over kind of step by step how the current process works, where we've got a little bit of issues. And then this post goes really into open items and what we need input on. And so if you guys get a chance, please come in and comment and see where you can help out. Anything else you'd like to add, Ross, or any questions on this from anybody? All right, let's go.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly jump in and just so the community knows what we're trying to do here a little bit with the signaling versus the official posts or snapshot votes is we're trying to move away from having this filter for core team and community and just make it all one clear process where we're basically saying in the lower levels where we can have lots of ideas floating around and the signaling snapshots are not they're not expected to be final. They're expected to be there for indicating which way the community wants to go and measuring your economic sort of effects of how much Yam you hold versus which way you're going to vote for a particular decision, and that's for the signaling snapshots. So we do want to have that threshold for making a signaling snapshot to be a bit lower, so that more people can do it. But we also don't want to overwhelm governance, so that threshold is basically just an anti-spam feature. And then instead of having these very official core team proposals that we have in the current system, we're trying to move more towards this final snapshot signaling. And the expectation for a final snapshot is that there's no more edits. So you would have a very fixed sort of proposal at that point. And it doesn't have to be fully spec'd out for somebody to program up or something, but between a final snapshot and on-chain voting, you would have that spec sorted out at that point. So that would be more engaging with team members or your own, I don't know, programmers or whoever to sort of flesh out that spec. But after you've got a very strong signal from a final snapshot vote, which we basically treat as community consensus.
Yep. So as we move forward, there's a lot of things that we need the community to basically have input on. The UMA, the synthetics, umbrella, tokenomics, There's a lot of things coming down the pipe that it requires kind of a community consensus. So if you guys can be a part of the process, definitely do, because it is important. It does direct the way that Yam is going to go. The decisions that the team makes is not the final decision ever. It's really up to you guys. So with that, moving on, as far as governance goes, the Yam Guardian Multisig we spoke about last week. What this is a multisig for a guardian to basically have the power to veto any potentially malicious on-chain votes. Since anybody can put up on-chain votes, it is important for us to have, just in case of an emergency, something that's malicious that we can avoid. So it has passed the snapshot proposal. And Trent, is there anything you'd like to add?
Nope, that pretty much covers it. We'll just
So currently it's what, 3 of 5 multisig?
3 of 5, yes.
3 of 5 multisig. The 5 guardians are, contributors, long-standing members of the Yam community. All right, anything else you'd like to add? Sorry.
Nope, I think that's great.
All right, very good. Past week in governance, I just put up a post recently about UMA rewards. So we had a chance to speak to the UMA team and get more recommendations on how to build the Ugas and the degenerative finance product. It's a little bit more complicated than we originally thought, and then there's a lot of variables that we can adjust to build out and to increase the liquidity and the rewards incentives so that it's the product gets better and better. So there's a whole forum post on basically what we discussed with UMA, and then some decisions that we have to make. Some of it we kind of are a little bit behind on as far as rewards and how to end them and start them, or where to put more emphasis on. So we've gone ahead and decided some of them, but moving forward, there needs to be more discussion, or if you want to go with what the team recommends, it's all on the forum post. Essentially, there are a couple of decisions that we need to make. First decision is UMA rewards. We can allocate them specifically for certain months. And the reason for that is to add liquidity into those certain months. For example, right now, as we are in January, the 30 days median gas price that Ugas January is about to expire on at the end of this month is already known. So the first 14 days or the first 13 or whatever days of January, we already know what the median gas price is. So the fluctuation and the ability to hedge using Ugas January gets lower and lower because the days get closer and closer to the expiration. So it's not really that useful of a product if you're only hedging on the last 14 days of the month, because you already know the first 14 days or first 16 days or whatever. So what makes sense is that anybody that's looking to hedge using Ugas, you should be looking at the February contract or even the March contract. Or anybody that's looking to use Ugas in an effective way should be looking forward at least 1 month. So what does this mean for rewards? It means that we don't necessarily need to provide rewards continuously for January all the way up until expiry, because realistically what we want to do is provide it for the month ahead or the month after that, so that we can create liquidity there in those markets to create a healthy market. So this goes along with the rewards, but it also goes along with our treasury investing into the future months for liquidity. So as far as what we've talked to UMA about and what we're thinking of is to allocate 75% of the user rewards for February and then 25% for March. And this will roll over on the 7th of every month. So actually, let me put this together so that it makes more sense. So what happens and what we're thinking, and this is up to the community to discuss, but the idea behind it is that on February 7th, the rewards for Ugas February will move to March and April. So the rewards for Ugas February will end on the 7th of that month, because you're starting to get into the dates where you know what the median gas prices are, and it loses its ability to be a hedge for that contract. So on February 7th, we would take the rewards that are currently allocated 75% to February and move 50%, or let's just put it this way, we would move Ugas March would have 75% starting on the 7th of February, and then April would have 25%. So it keeps rolling that way. Like I said, the purpose of this is strictly to provide liquidity to create a healthier market for the month ahead. Rewards are for mint. If you only get UMA rewards if you mint and LP. So provide liquidity. So you pair. So essentially, you have to mint Ugas tokens. The way you would do that is provide collateral, ETH collateral, and then mint the tokens. Then you'd have to pair the ETH with the Ugas tokens on Uniswap as LP liquidity provider. And then when you've done both of those, you're set up to get UMA rewards either via airdrop at the end of the month or at the 7th of every month, or we might be doing a Merkle drop, airdrop or Merkle drop, one of the two. So basically, at the end of each reward cycle, we'll snapshot it. We'll see who provided how much for how long, and then we'll give you the rewards for that. Okay. The cool thing about mint and LPing, so we have the option of doing providing rewards for LPing, just LPing straight, versus mint and LPing. Long story short, look into the forum post if you have any ideas as far as which one we should do is better. But overall, I think most people agree that mint and LP providing rewards for doing both actions is the most beneficial. The good thing about it is that you're a net neutral position, meaning that when you mint Ugas tokens, if Ugas goes up and down, you don't actually lose or gain any money from it. Your position is neutral. There is some impermanent loss risk with when you LP. There is also some liquidation risk if Ugas goes up too much or ETH goes down too much. But if you're minting at the GCR, the global collateral ratio, it's minimal. You do have to monitor your positions. The good thing is that you're basically getting an APY on your ETH at about 20 to 25%. So the total amount of ETH that you have to put in to mint and LP, you're gaining an APY of 20 to 25%. The calculator will be up in a little bit. It is a little complicated because it is based on how much collateral you have to put in, how much Ugas you mint, plus how much ETH you have to use to pair with the Ugas to provide liquidity. All right, so I know this is complicated. I'm going to leave some time for questions in a bit. But going forward, the Treasury is going to invest 100% of our ETH, our leftover ETH, which right now is around $400,000, into Ugas February, and we'll roll it over with the rewards distribution monthly. So right now, the contract should be up shortly. Nate will go into that. But we're going to take the ETH that we currently have sitting idle in the Treasury. We're going to mint Ugas and LP for Ugas February up until February 7th. And then at which time we'll take a snapshot for the rewards. And then after the 7th, likely on the 8th, we'll be submitting an on-chain on-chain vote to pay out the rewards for the time for February for the 75%. We'll be paying that out Plus, we'll be transferring the liquidity onto the next month, which was March. So it does get a little complicated. Feel free to ask questions if you have any. Liquidation, and the last part of this forum post is where we go into the Ugas liquidation bot. Like we said, it's currently managed by Brock in his own personal funds. We will be transferring that to the Yam Treasury. We do need a governance vote or proposal snapshot to make sure that the community is okay with that. So with that being said, I probably didn't explain everything that well, but if you guys have, does anybody have any questions on the call about the UMA distributions?
The only thing I will add is that if you're minting and LPing, you actually don't have any impermanent loss risk because the gas tokens, the Ugas is backed by ETH. So ultimately, if you've minted, you're basically just pairing ETH with ETH. Because if the Ugas token goes up in price versus ETH, like you'll still get that amount out when you'll have more. You'll either have more or less Ugas tokens, which you can then redeem for ETH, and that's essentially going to be counteracted by any movements. Just something to note in terms of like once we start pushing that APY out, when we talk about the APY on ETH and those risks and everything, good to have it clear that there's no IL there.
When I did it, I LP'd, and then I got less Ugas tokens. So let's say I LP'd a 10 Ugas with 1 ETH or whatever it may be. At the end of it, when I took it, when I closed my LP position, I had like 9.9 Ugas tokens and a bit more ETH. And then I had to go back and buy a 0.1 Ugas in order for me to close my collateral, in order for me to withdraw all my collateral. I think it's about the same, but it was a little less. It was like just a fraction. It's minimal at anything, but I think it was a little less than what I should have gotten.
Well,
So
I think
just to clarify, is Ugas basically works like a CDP, does it not? Like a MakerDAO CDP, where you're basically, instead of minting DAI, you're minting Ugas, and instead of yeah. Okay. So then yes, there is impermanent loss, but the APY should cover that. And if it's 20 to 25%, it should cover that and then some. Over the course of a month, I'm not sure if Uniswap fees are going to compensate for a large slippage, but basically you can estimate impermanent loss just by a doubling of one side of the market to the other. And that's you lose about 4 to 5% on your capital. So that's just a rule of thumb.
there is also one difference in, I think, the CDP and the UMA expiries, in that, like, I don't have to have opened a CDP to go get, I don't have to have minted a position to go get the collateral out. So, like, I think that's where the IL gets mitigated, because it's always like, Fedis, you didn't have to go buy that 0.1 Ugas or whatever. You could have just left the amount.
No, because he had to LP it. So when he LP'd it, he exposed himself to the price change.
Yeah, no, I hear what Trent's saying, though. I could have just left it and then let it expire at the end, and then claim back the ETH that I put, or the remaining of the ETH that I put in. I think it's minimal at best.
You can always get that extra collateral out. If you had left the 0.1 Ugas out into the market, like, that would just settle to whatever the equivalent amount of ETH is, you would always be able to get your remaining ETH out.
Yeah, that's likely. I didn't do that. I just claimed it. I just paid back the total, like the 10 Ugas that I put in or that I minted. I paid back exactly the same, and I got all of my original collateral back.
Yeah.
So it was a slightly off when you do that. I don't know, but at this point in time, it's minimal at best, if anything, that I've seen.
Well,
But-
isn't that where some of the speculation comes in? That like you're basically deciding whether or not it's more valuable to sell your Ugas on the market or redeem it at the upon expiry. I mean, sorry,
Yeah,
maybe I'm missing something.
I'll have to throw some money in and play with it to see what's going on, because I'm just carrying over assumptions from MakerDAO, and I'm not sure if Ugas works identically or not.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it's minimal at best. You're going to be more worried about liquidation than anything else, as long as the price doesn't spike too much. So when if you are minting Ugas through the degenerative finance, it will tell you what your liquidation price is. What that means is based on the current value of ETH, the price. If Ugas goes to this price, could be at risk for liquidations. So keep in mind that price when you're minting. Other than that, the 25% APY on your ETH is way higher than you'll find anywhere else. I mean, that's not super high risk either, because you're not exposed to any price risk of the Ugas. So if Ugas goes up, you don't get the gains, but if Ugas goes down, you don't lose money either. So you're not putting at risk in terms of the Ugas price risk, only just the ETH under the underlying collateral. So it's actually pretty good. Any other questions, comments? All right, moving on. So
All right, I have one question. People have asked whether there's a world where Yam might at some point be used as collateral to back Ugas. Is there a world where that makes sense at some point?
Yes, we can make our own proposal to get that accepted as collateral. Whether it gets accepted or not, that's up to the UMA team and the UMA token holders. But as far as it goes, Yam is, there's not a lot of Yam. There's not a lot of collateral for it. It's not, when you compare something to like ETH or DAI or USDT or USDC, our market's much, much, much smaller. So is there much of a use for that? And not only that, as price fluctuates, if your collateral is not stable and it goes up, or goes down, 50%, it will put you at even higher risk for liquidations. So if the underlying collateral asset is highly volatile, the more volatile it is, the higher the risk is to get liquidated. So, there's plus and minuses on both sides as far as using it as a collateral. It's possible. Do we want to do it? If you have ETH or if you have Yam, it might be better if you go with something that's less volatile.
All right, Yam fam. That's for those of you who have been asking or wondering, that's where that's at the moment.
But we will be looking into it. That's part of what I'm taking a look at. As far as V2 migration, Yam V2 migration, tomorrow's the deadline for responses. As far as I sent out emails asking exchanges, etc., whoever has V2 listed, to see if they would see how much time they need in order for us to end the migration. So far, it's looking like all we need to do is give them about a month of time to let them know that we're going to end the migrations. So tomorrow we'll make an announcement saying that, hey, everybody, V2 migrations are going to end on February 15th. So migrate your tokens. Right now, as I last time I checked, there's only about 300,000 V2 tokens outstanding. So it's not even that much either way. But at least this will give us a kind of a consensus around one token. All right, on-chain voting proposals. Nate, if you can give an update on this.
Hey, yeah, Fedis basically already gave my update for me. Yeah, this deployment of this contract is currently in the mempool pending a miner mining it. And then shortly after that, I'll create the proposal and we can start voting on it today.
Awesome. The 250K WBTC purchase is deferred until YDS launch, which is near the end of the month. Upcoming governance. So the snapshots for the UMA rewards distribution, basically what I talked about. If you guys have any updates or changes, let us know, talk to us in the forums. But I'm going to try to put that up for snapshot probably in the next couple of days, unless there is some discussion around it. We are starting tokenomics discussions for Yam. There's a lot of things coming down the pipe in terms of where we want to use the treasury. We're also considering adding more of the YUSD from our treasury into ETH to add additional UMA liquidity into Ugas and mining of UMA. So all these things, some discussion around the overall tokenomics of Yam, the overall treasury, how we want to utilize it, because we can utilize all of the treasury very quickly by providing liquidity for UMA, Umbrella, YDS. It could be all gone fairly easily. So we want to have a plan in place, or at least an idea of what we're going to be doing overall. So if you guys are interested in being a part of this conversation, ping me on Discord. We'll add you to the channel. It is, you know, I would like some sort of knowledge or background in tokenomics. You know, more than just number go up. We need to have some substance, like thought and ideas behind what we want to do for the long term of Yam. All right, so moving forward, any questions on that? All right, Ugas Ugas rewards for February start in about 6 hours, 5.5 hours. 000 UTC. That means that the February or the January rewards are ending. So I know there's like 8 or 9 minted positions in Ugas January. Time to start thinking about rolling those over, or if you're going to hold them, hold them. Umbrella protocol update testing. Trent, we just went through alpha testing. Can you give an update, please?
Yep. So we've tested all of the functions of the protocol, you know, sweeping the premium payments, actually issuing a claim, and then dissolving the pool. So, you know, everything functioned according to our previous testing and worked as planned on mainnet. So that's all great. All according to plan. We are entering audit in the next few days with Peck Shield. And then following that, that audit, we'll be able to go live with a public launch. So, you know, one of the couple of the things we need to get done in the near term ahead of that launch is decide on, you know, nail down that arbitration criteria, which we've talked about a little bit on the forums, and then nail down what protocols and contracts we're going to cover in our initial pools, as well as if we want to provide any Yam liquidity incentives on those pools. It might make sense to incentivize a little bit of liquidity to get in there and create some available coverage. I think that probably will make sense. So we'll get those things posted on the forum and get the feedback and make sure that we're all geared up for launch in a few weeks likely.
Awesome. Awesome work, guys. Any questions, comments? All right. Yeah, so it's moving along quite nicely. We're just going to keep chugging along as we go. As far as YDS updates, anything you'd like to add, Nate?
Nope, nothing really to update there.
All right, so we're still looking end of January for the basic token sets YDS, and we're likely going to be trading WBTC in it, so keep an eye out for that. Upcoming marketing and media, Bruce, designer Chris. Bruce, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. We just launched the Ugas logo design contest. Basically, we're asking our community to create a exciting, bold, modern logo for Ugas. We're giving away $1,000 in yams worth of rewards. Come check. The details are on Twitter or on the Yam forum. This week we also shared our 2020 recap and early 2021 roadmap. That's on Medium if you haven't seen it yet. A lot of great information and exciting things there. Looking forward, I think our main focus, at least for me this week, is focusing on degenerative messaging. As like the February Mint and February rewards roll over, we really want to push the Mint and LP message, share some instructional videos and infographics on, breaking it down, how it works, making it easy for all of us to use degenerative. And we're also working on a pitch deck for YDS for other DAOs to offer the YDS service, basically to, make it easy, make treasury management easy for other DAOs so they can focus on building and development. Jim and Chris, do you want to share anything?
Sure. This is Jim, and so the Medium has been really a great tool for us, but we're now planning to launch a newsletter. And I did some research, found out that Substack actually gives us a lot of really great capabilities that Medium doesn't. Although there's a good Medium base, we're going to continue to support that, of course, and use it for certain types of communications. The newsletter will be, I guess Substack has a really great capability with managing the list. So the newsletter will exist as a blog, link to a blog. Also, we can then start strategically placing sign up for our newsletter and start building up a database of for the newsletter and other communications. And Substack has a pretty robust tool set for both the marketing database as well as email list management metrics, so we can measure our effectiveness with some really good tools and report on those. And yeah, we're just building a team right now. A whole bunch of contributors are jumping in, and we're going to spread the workload across, I don't know, half a dozen or more of our contributors who will be subject matter experts in different areas. And what we're asking is that they first will get together and do some brainstorming, and then we'll create a template that'll be a monthly newsletter. And each contributor will be responsible for not a lot of work, a very little bit of work around a particular subject. And then Chris is going to take an editor role there and pull it all together and put a common voice to it. So we'll be rolling out a monthly newsletter series here real soon, and I'm trying to whip that together right now. Chris, let me turn it over to you at this point.
Yeah, I think you guys have covered everything fairly well. We have some additional campaigns coming down the pipe as far as marketing campaigns for February and March. And so just, yeah, a lot of exciting stuff coming down the pipe. as things really start kicking off in January. But excited to see how the Ugas logo contest moves forward. And if this goes well, we're looking at doing the same for other tokens that come out of Yam in the future as well. So.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Do we have any questions, comments from the community? Anybody? All right. Well, if you guys have anything, as always, we are on Discord. Come chat with us. Like I said, we've got a lot of things coming down the pipe and a lot of inputs needed. If you guys want to help out, let us know. If you guys have any coding background, UI development, front end UI, anything that you guys want to do to help out, that's we'd be happy to have you, and we can figure out how it will all work out. Anything anybody on the team would like to add?
We also have some potential new devs who are vetting at the moment, correct?
Yep.
So that's exciting news for everyone who who's wanted us to recruit and expand our team. We listened, and that's happening. But obviously, we want to make sure everyone is up to par before we just throw them in the fire.
Indeed. All right. Anybody else? Well, thank you guys for your time. It was happy to have you guys here, and we'll see you again shortly.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys.
See ya.
Cheers. See you next week.